1 hour of focused action is more powerful than a lifetime of waiting for the right time. Every day you delay is a day of progress lost. You don't need to change your entire life overnight. You just need to commit 1 hour a day to becoming better than yesterday. 1 hour can rebuild your mindset, reset your energy, and remind you of the person you're trying to become. It's not about having time, it's about making that time matter. Most people waste hours scrolling, doubting, or waiting for motivation. But the truth is, 1 intentional hour can reshape your body, sharpen your mind, build a skill, or unlock a new path. Today, we'll break down how just 60 minutes each day can push your life forward in ways you never thought possible. It's not about doing everything. It's about doing something that truly matters every single day. If you're ready to stop wasting time and start changing your life, then let's dive in. Number 1. Dedicate 1 hour daily to practicing active listening skills. Most people don't feel seen. Most people don't feel heard. They walk through their lives surrounded by noise, distracted by their phones, caught up in their own thoughts, yet starving for real connection. You know it, and maybe you felt it too. You've had conversations where someone's talking to you, but your mind is somewhere else. Or you've tried to explain something deeply personal, and the other person just nodded without really understanding. That disconnection, that's what keeps people isolated, even when they're surrounded by others. And if you want to live a better, more fulfilled life, this is where it starts. You don't need a full course, a seminar, or a big event. All you need is 1 hour a day. 1 hour to become someone who truly listens. And when you do that, everything changes. Let's talk about what happens when you give 1 hour of your day to active listening. First, your relationships start to shift. People begin to feel safe around you. They talk to you more. They open up. You're not just another person in the room. You become the one person who makes them feel understood. And that creates trust. Not surface-level politeness, real trust. It's the kind that makes people want to keep you in their lives. And the kind that brings people to you when opportunities come around. Whether it's in business, friendships, or family, those who listen well are remembered, respected, and sought after. Now, let's be clear, active listening isn't just hearing words. It's putting your attention on someone else, fully. Not thinking about what you're going to say next. Not checking your phone. Not daydreaming. Just being there, in that moment. Hearing the tone of their voice. Noticing their pauses. Watching their eyes. Feeling what they're trying to express, not just the words they say. It's hard because we're not used to doing it. It takes effort, and that's why you practice it every day. 1 hour, every single day. Imagine this. For 1 hour each day, you sit down with a friend, a co-worker, a family member, or even a stranger and decide, today I will be fully present. You'll listen without interrupting. You'll ask questions not to prove your point, but to understand theirs. You'll give people the space to say what they've been holding in. And over time, you'll notice something powerful. People start coming to you. They seek you out. They trust you with their stories, their doubts, their hopes, because they know you're the one who actually listens. This one habit alone, this 1 hour of practice, will build your emotional intelligence faster than most books ever could. You'll start to understand what people really mean, not just what they say. You'll catch the shifts in their voice, the hesitation in their response, the subtle clues they leave behind. And when you respond, your words will carry more weight. Why? Because people will know you actually heard them. And that's rare. Rare is valuable. Now people often say, I don't have time. But let's look at the truth. How much time do you spend scrolling? How much time do you spend talking but not really connecting? How many conversations do you have that don't go anywhere? You're already spending the time, it's just not directed. When you take that same hour and make it intentional, the return is massive. You're not losing an hour. You're building something that will pay you back every single day of your life. This isn't just about being nice. This is strategic. People who master listening skills rise faster. They lead better. they build stronger networks. They earn more respect. And they get more done with less effort because people want to work with them, open up to them, support them. Listening is influence. It's not loud. It's not flashy. But it's powerful. Quiet power. And people can feel it. Every day you do this, you'll start noticing something new. You'll hear patterns. You'll hear what's said and what's not said. You'll notice when someone's holding something back. You'll start asking better questions, not to dig, but to help them open up. You'll be someone who can comfort without fixing, support without judging. That's a rare kind of strength. And the more you practice, the more natural it becomes. It won't feel forced. It will feel real. And here's what else happens. As you listen better, you start understanding yourself better. Because you can't give someone your attention until you've quieted your own noise. You'll begin to recognize your own habits, how often you interrupt, when your mind wanders, where your attention goes. And when you see those things, you can change them. That's where real growth happens. It's not just about being a better communicator. It's about becoming a better person. 1 hour a day. That's all. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to be present. Some days the conversation will flow easily. Other days you'll struggle to focus. But it's the practice that matters. You show up, you listen, you improve, and little by little, that 1 hour begins to transform you. Start simple. Turn off your phone, sit down with someone, ask them how they're doing, and actually mean it. Don't rush. Don't think about your to-do list. Just listen. If they pause, give them space. If they get emotional, stay with them. If they go off topic, follow them. Show them you care enough to stay with their words, wherever they go. That alone can make a person feel like they matter. And once you do that consistently, you'll begin to see how people respond to you. You'll see it in their eyes. You'll feel it in the way they speak to you. There's a shift, a warmth, a connection, and it all came from something so simple, so easy to overlook, but so powerful when done well. It's not about talent. It's about intention. It's not about having all the answers. It's about being willing to listen long enough to understand the questions. You can start today. You can start right now. And if you stick with it 1 hour a day, you won't believe how much your life changes. Your relationships will be deeper. Your influence will grow. Your confidence will rise not because you talk more, but because you understand more. And people will notice that. They'll feel drawn to it, because deep down, we're all looking for that kind of presence, that kind of respect, that kind of connection. 1 hour a day can give that to you, and it can give it to everyone around you. Number 2, observe people's body language for at least 30 minutes. Most people walk through life missing what's right in front of them, not because they're blind, but because they're not paying attention. They hear words but miss the meaning. They interact but don't connect. Why? Because they never learn to see. And I'm not talking about seeing with your eyes. I'm talking about truly noticing what people are showing you without ever saying a word. The truth is, people are communicating with their body all the time. The way they sit, the way they move, where they look, how they stand. It's a whole language. And if you spend just 30 minutes a day learning to read it, your entire understanding of people will grow. Not slightly, massively. We live in a time where conversations are fast and shallow. People say, "I'm fine," when they're drowning. They laugh to hide discomfort. They nod while disagreeing inside. Words lie, but the body rarely does. And that's why this habit matters. You can't afford to miss what's not being said. Not in your job. Not in your relationships, not in your everyday life. Because the better you are at reading body language, the faster you can sense truth, connection, tension, or trust. That gives you an edge socially, emotionally, even professionally. Let's be honest. Most people go through their day without truly noticing anyone. They might see people in passing, but they're not observing. They're in their heads, focused on their own schedule, their next meeting, or their phone. But if you take just 30 minutes a day and flip that around, if you make people your focus instead of distractions, you start learning things about them they never told you. You begin to notice when someone's smile doesn't reach their eyes. You catch that moment when someone leans back a little too far, showing discomfort. You sense hesitation in the way their arms fold or how they avoid eye contact. These are signals, not just habits, and they tell you more than words ever could. Now think about where you can observe. You don't need a lab. You don't need a camera. Just walk through a park, sit in a cafe, attend a meeting, stand in a grocery store line. Look at people not to judge, not to analyze, but to understand. Watch how they move, how they position themselves, how they interact. Who's nervous? Who's open? Who's closed off? Who's pretending to be confident? Who's really confident? You'll start seeing patterns, and those patterns become your guide. And here's something else. This habit doesn't just help you understand others. It helps you understand yourself. When you pay attention to other people's nonverbal cues, you start to notice your own. You realize when you slouch during conflict, when you cross your arms during disagreement, when you raise your voice without needing to. You get to know how you show up. And that self-awareness is power, because once you see it, you can change it. One of the most powerful things you'll learn by observing body language is when not to speak. There are moments where silence, paired with observation, teaches you more than any question could. You might notice someone flinch when a certain topic comes up, or smile tightly when discussing their job. That tells you something is there, something they might not be ready to say out loud. And if you catch that, and you respond with patience instead of pressure, you become the kind of person others trust. You're no longer just another talker. You're someone who understands what most people miss. Now this takes consistency. It's not something you master in a day. But if you commit to 30 minutes a day, every day, it becomes second nature. It becomes automatic, and it doesn't have to be awkward. You're not staring at people or being intrusive. You're simply paying more attention. You're sharpening a skill most people ignore. You're choosing to become more aware, more connected, and more socially intelligent. You'll begin to notice the difference between real confidence and fake confidence. You'll spot the person who dominates a room not because they're loud, but because their posture shows certainty. You'll see the leader who doesn't need to shout because their presence speaks louder than volume. You'll also notice the person who avoids eye contact, who shrinks into their chair, who stays silent even when they have something to say. And when you see that, you have an opportunity to make space for them, to support them, to invite them in. That's leadership. That's compassion. That's connection. And it grows deeper. You'll begin to anticipate emotion before it arrives. You'll sense frustration building before someone speaks. You'll feel tension rising in a group, even before voices change. This gives you a powerful advantage not to manipulate, but to navigate. You won't be surprised by reactions. You'll be ready. You'll be present. And you'll be respected for it. 30 minutes a day. That's all it takes. No books. No classroom. Just you, your attention, and the world around you. And over time, you'll not only become better at reading people, you'll become better at connecting with them. You'll say the right thing at the right time. You'll know when to lean in and when to give space. You'll feel more confident in conversations because you'll know more than what's spoken. And people will feel it. They'll feel seen. They'll feel safe. And they'll want to be around you more. And you're not doing this for approval. You're doing it for understanding, for truth, for real human connection. Because when you can look at someone and see beyond their words, you build relationships that are deeper, stronger, and more honest. That's what people are craving. Not more talking, more understanding, more presence, more people who see past the surface. You don't need to make a show of it. You don't need to tell anyone you're observing. Just make it a part of your daily life. While others stay distracted, you stay aware. While others miss the cues, you catch them. And while others guess how people feel, you'll know. Not because someone told you, but because you learned to read what was already there, right in front of you. 30 minutes of focused observation a day. That's the commitment, and that's the key to being better with people, to being wiser in decisions, to being more emotionally intelligent. It's not complicated, it's not expensive, but it is powerful, and it's yours if you choose to start. Number 3. Practice empathy exercises to better understand others' feelings. Most people are walking through life with a storm inside them. Worries, doubts, fears they don't talk about. And most of the time, the people around them never notice. Not because they don't care, but because they don't know how to step into someone else's world. They might offer advice, throw out a cliché, or change the subject. But very few actually try to understand how it feels to be in that person's shoes. That's the difference between sympathy and empathy. One looks at the pain from a distance, the other sits with it. Most people never learn how to do that. But if you dedicate time every single day to practicing empathy, real empathy, your world will change. Your relationships will deepen. Your influence will grow. And you'll become the kind of person others turn to, not because you fix everything, but because you get them. Empathy is not about solving problems. It's about making space for people to be fully seen, fully heard, and fully accepted even when they're at their lowest. Most people don't want you to fix their pain. They want you to feel it with them, even for a moment. They want to know they're not alone in what they carry. And you can't give them that if you haven't trained yourself to slow down, to listen closely, and to feel what they might be feeling. This isn't something that comes naturally to everyone, but it's something you can build, like a muscle, by practicing it intentionally every single day. Empathy exercises are simple but powerful. Start by imagining what someone might be going through, not based on what they show on the outside, but based on what you know about life. If you see someone irritated at work, pause. Don't react. Ask yourself, what might be behind that frustration? Maybe they're stressed. Maybe they're scared. Maybe something happened at home this morning. You don't need to know the exact story to begin feeling for them. You just need to be willing to look beyond their behavior. Most people stop at what's visible. Empathy looks underneath. Another powerful habit is to reflect on your own experiences, moments when you felt misunderstood, judged, or overlooked. Remember what that felt like. The tightness in your chest, the feeling of being alone, the frustration of not being able to explain yourself. Then, when someone else is struggling, reach into that memory. Connect to it, not to make it about you, but to feel a little closer to what they might be going through. That's what makes empathy real. It's not theory. It's personal. You can also practice empathy by listening to stories. Not entertainment, not gossip, real stories. Read memoirs. Watch interviews. Listen to people talk about their lives, their losses, their healing. Not to critique, not to compare, but to understand. The more lives you step into, the more you realize how many paths people walk and how many silent battles they fight. It opens your eyes. It softens your heart. And it makes you slower to judge, quicker to care. Here's the truth. Empathy isn't always comfortable. It asks you to sit with pain that isn't yours, to feel sadness you didn't cause, to carry a little of someone else's burden without trying to make it go away. That takes emotional strength. It takes patience. It takes the willingness to hold space for someone else's truth without inserting your own. And that's what most people don't realize. Empathy is not weak. It's not soft. It's one of the most courageous things you can do. And you'll notice something else as you practice this daily. Your perspective changes. You start to respond differently. You no longer jump to conclusions. You don't take things as personally. You stop assuming you always know what someone means. You pause. You ask. You listen. You approach situations with curiosity instead of judgment. That changes how people see you. You're not the person who reacts. You're the one who understands. And in a world full of noise, that kind of presence is rare. Over time, empathy sharpens your instincts. You'll begin to sense when someone's holding something in. You'll catch the pause before the smile. You'll notice the difference between a polite, "I'm okay," and a real one. And because you've built the habit of feeling with others, you'll know how to respond with warmth, with care, with honesty. You'll become the kind of person people confide in, Not because you have all the answers, but because you're willing to walk beside them while they search for their own. This isn't just for your personal life. It transforms how you lead, how you sell, how you teach, how you parent. Empathy changes how you show up everywhere. In business, it helps you understand your clients, not just what they want, but why they want it. In leadership, it makes you someone who people want to follow, not out of fear, but out of respect. In your relationships, it helps you stop arguments before they start, because you learn to hear the feeling behind the words. In parenting, it helps you raise children who feel seen and understood, not just managed and directed. All of this comes from one daily decision: to step outside of your own mind and into someone else's. Even for 5 minutes, even if it's uncomfortable, even if it doesn't come naturally, you practice, you grow, you keep showing up, and day by day, you become more in tune with others and more grounded in yourself. You can start right now. You don't need to wait. The next time someone tells you how they're feeling, stop and really listen. Don't rush to respond. Don't offer advice unless they ask. Just be there, fully. Let your presence tell them, "I'm with you." Not, "I'll fix it." Not, "I've been there too." Just, "I'm here." That's empathy. That's what changes people. And here's something people don't talk about enough. Empathy also changes you. It makes you more peaceful, less reactive, less angry at the world. When you understand that everyone is carrying something, you stop blaming. You stop resenting. You start seeing people as human, not just roles or titles or problems. And that gives you a kind of inner freedom that's rare in today's world. You're not doing this to be liked. You're doing it to become someone of substance, someone who can handle more than their own emotions, someone who contributes more than opinions, someone who actually makes a difference in someone else's day just by showing up with presence, with care, with heart. Empathy isn't always loud. It's not dramatic. But it's powerful, and when you practice it every day, it becomes part of who you are, not just something you do. And that's when it starts to shape your world in ways you can't even predict. Give yourself that gift. Make empathy a daily habit, not just for others, but for the person you're becoming. Number 4, engage in meaningful conversations to improve social confidence. Many people feel stuck when it comes to talking with others. They want to connect, but don't know how to start. Or they talk, but feel like no one really listens. Conversations become a source of stress instead of enjoyment. This isn't because they lack intelligence or charisma. It's because meaningful conversations don't happen by accident. They happen when you decide to make them happen. When you invest time and effort into talking in a way that builds trust, shows respect, and opens hearts. This is a skill anyone can develop. And dedicating time each day to having real conversations will change the way you see yourself and others. There's a common problem. Many face small talk feels empty and unsatisfying. You might have found yourself trapped in surface-level chats, repeating the same phrases or answering the same questions over and over. It feels like everyone is skimming the surface, avoiding anything deeper. But deep connection rarely starts there. Meaningful conversations dig below those shallow waters. They invite people to share their stories, their dreams, their fears. And those are the conversations that build confidence, not just because you learn more about others, but because you learn more about who you are in relation to them. Starting these conversations can be uncomfortable at first. It pushes you out of your comfort zone. You might worry about saying the wrong thing or sounding awkward. That's natural. Most people experience this, but few push through. The truth is, every great conversationalist started somewhere. The difference is they kept practicing. The more time you spend engaging in conversations that matter, the more natural it becomes. It's like any muscle, use it or lose it. But once it strengthens, it becomes a powerful tool for every area of your life. Meaningful conversations are not about talking more, they're about talking better. That means asking questions that invite stories instead of one-word answers. It means listening fully without planning your next sentence while the other person is still talking. It means being genuinely curious about what they're sharing. When you do this, something shifts. People feel valued and understood. They open up more. They want to talk with you again. That cycle builds your social confidence because you realize conversations don't have to be a battle or a performance. They can be a shared experience. It also means sharing about yourself in honest, thoughtful ways. Vulnerability isn't weakness, it's connection. When you allow yourself to be real in conversation, others sense that. It creates a safe space for them to be real too. This back and forth, this exchange of genuine thoughts and feelings, builds trust, and confidence follows trust. When you practice being open, you realize the world doesn't fall apart. People don't reject you for being human. In fact, they respect you more for it. Sometimes, engaging in meaningful conversations requires you to slow down. In a world that moves fast, we're tempted to rush from one interaction to the next without really being present. But social confidence grows when you're fully present. That means putting away distractions, phones, TV, racing thoughts, and focusing on the person in front of you. When you listen without interruption and respond thoughtfully, you create connection. You show respect. You build your confidence because you see the power of your presence. Every conversation is a chance to learn. You might meet someone who challenges your views or opens your eyes to new ideas. When you embrace that instead of shutting down, you grow mentally and emotionally. Social confidence isn't just about feeling comfortable, it's about being adaptable. It's about handling different personalities and opinions with grace. Meaningful conversations give you that practice every day. Another part of this is understanding that conversations are not always perfect. Sometimes you stumble, say something awkward, or misunderstand. That's okay. It's part of learning. The more you engage in real conversations, the more you build resilience. You realize mistakes don't define you. They're just steps on the way to becoming better. This daily commitment to meaningful conversations also transforms how you view yourself. When you connect deeply with others, you see your own value more clearly. You realize you have stories worth sharing, thoughts worth hearing, and emotions worth expressing. That builds inner confidence that spills over into every part of your life. You carry yourself differently. You approach new people with less fear. You express your ideas more clearly. You become someone who is comfortable in their own skin. Practicing meaningful conversations doesn't mean you need a big group or special setting. It can be as simple as talking with a coworker during lunch, having a sincere chat with a family member, or reaching out to an old friend with real interest. It's about quality, not quantity. A 10-minute heart-to-heart is worth more than an hour of shallow chatter. Over time, these conversations create a foundation of strong relationships. People remember how you made them feel. They remember the moments when you truly listened. And that reputation builds your social confidence even further, because you're not just someone who talks, you're someone who connects. And connection is the heart of all human interaction. The key is to make this a daily habit. Dedicate 1 hour a day, not just to talking, but to engaging, to listening, asking, sharing, and being present. No distractions, no agendas, just real human connection. That hour can change how you feel about yourself, how others see you, and how you move through the world. With this practice, you'll notice a new sense of ease when entering any room. You'll find it easier to start conversations and keep them going. You'll understand the flow of dialogue, the give and take, the pauses, the unspoken moments. And as your confidence grows, so will your influence. People will seek you out not because you're loud or dominant, but because you're authentic and approachable. This kind of social confidence opens doors. It leads to new friendships, better work relationships, and deeper family bonds. It creates opportunities because people trust you and feel comfortable around you. And it all starts with the simple choice to engage in meaningful conversations every single day. When you commit to this, you stop fearing social situations. Instead, you see them as chances to connect, to learn, and to grow. You become someone who doesn't just talk to be heard, but someone who listens to understand and speaks to inspire. And that changes everything. Number 5, read books or watch videos on social intelligence daily. It's a hard truth that most people wander through social situations without knowing the rules. They struggle to understand why some conversations flow naturally and others feel forced. They wonder why certain people seem to connect effortlessly while they're left feeling awkward or misunderstood. The problem isn't lack of desire, it's lack of knowledge. Social intelligence isn't something you're born with fully formed. It's a skill that you can build, sharpen, and improve by learning. And the best way to build this skill is by dedicating time each day to studying it through books, videos, or other resources that teach you how people think, communicate, and connect. Many think social intelligence is just about charm or being outgoing, but it's much more than that. It's about understanding people deeply, how they express themselves, how they interpret what you say, how emotions influence behavior. Without this understanding, even the best intentions can be misunderstood. This daily study is like having a map for a territory you thought was confusing. It gives you insight into what's really happening beneath the surface in conversations and relationships. It helps you avoid common mistakes that can shut people down or push them away. Books on social intelligence don't just offer theories, they give practical steps. They teach you to recognize patterns in behavior, to listen beyond words, and to respond in ways that build connection. Watching videos from experts can show you tone, gestures, and expressions you might miss in text. Together, they provide a complete toolkit. But this toolkit is useless if it sits on the shelf. That's why daily commitment matters. Even just 20 or 30 minutes a day creates steady progress. Over weeks and months, the knowledge stacks up. It becomes instinct. The reality for most is that social mistakes have real consequences, missed opportunities, strained relationships, loneliness. You may have felt it yourself, the frustration of wanting to connect but not knowing how, the fear of saying something wrong and facing judgment, the confusion when someone reacts unexpectedly. These moments chip away at confidence. But when you educate yourself about social intelligence, you start to reclaim control. You understand why these moments happen and how to handle them better next time. One powerful aspect of learning social intelligence is understanding emotions, both yours and others. Many people don't realize how much emotions drive communication. Without recognizing this, it's easy to get stuck in conflicts or misunderstandings. Books and videos teach you to read emotional signals and manage your own feelings. That means fewer arguments, less stress, and more genuine connection. It's not about controlling others, but about being aware and responding thoughtfully. This learning also challenges you to reflect on your own social habits. Maybe you interrupt too often or avoid eye contact. Maybe you speak too quickly or don't ask questions. The more you read and watch, the more you see your blind spots. Awareness is the first step to change. When you notice these patterns, you can work on them intentionally. Daily learning keeps this process moving forward, helping you become more polished, confident, and effective in social settings. It's important to choose the right resources. Not every book or video is equal. Look for those that focus on practical skills, real examples, and clear explanations. Avoid ones that are overly complicated or full of jargon. The goal is to make this learning simple and applicable. You want to come away each day with a clear action you can try in your next conversation. Another benefit is that learning social intelligence increases your empathy and patience. When you understand how complex human interactions are, you're less likely to rush to judgment. You become more compassionate toward yourself and others. This patience creates space for mistakes and growth, which is essential for building trust and deep relationships. It also prepares you for diverse social situations, whether at work, home, or out in the community, you'll meet people with different backgrounds, personalities, and communication styles. Without social intelligence, these differences can create barriers. With it, you learn to adapt your approach to fit each person, making interactions smoother and more rewarding. Some might think they're too busy for this daily learning, but consider what 1 hour a day can do when focused on growth. Compare that to the hours wasted worrying about social awkwardness or avoiding people altogether. This investment pays off in increased confidence, better relationships, and greater personal happiness. It's a small price for a big return. Daily study also helps you stay motivated and accountable. When you make it a habit, you keep your social growth front and center. You're reminded to practice what you learn and notice your improvements. This momentum is crucial because change doesn't happen overnight. It builds gradually, day by day. You might be surprised how quickly you start to notice differences. You'll find yourself more aware of how others react. You'll catch nuances in conversations that used to slip by. You'll start applying techniques like matching tone, mirroring body language, or asking thoughtful questions that make others feel comfortable and valued. These are the marks of social intelligence, and you'll develop them through consistent learning. There's also a confidence that comes from knowing you're actively working on yourself. It changes your inner dialogue from, "I'm not good at this," to "I'm improving every day." That mindset shift fuels your courage to engage in social situations rather than avoid them. Reading and watching content on social intelligence connects you to a community of learners too. Many authors and speakers share stories, tips, and exercises that you can join. This sense of connection reminds you that you're not alone in this journey. Everyone struggles with social challenges at some point. What sets people apart is their willingness to learn and grow. Eventually, as this knowledge becomes second nature, you start using it without thinking. It becomes a part of who you are. Social intelligence moves from a skill you study to a strength you live by. This shift transforms your life because relationships become easier, richer, and more fulfilling. One last reality: social intelligence is a lifelong skill. No one masters it completely. There will always be new situations, new people, and new challenges. Daily learning keeps you prepared and adaptable. It helps you stay curious rather than stuck. And curiosity is the foundation of every meaningful connection. Choosing to read or watch social intelligence content every day is choosing to change how you relate to the world. It's deciding to stop feeling isolated in social settings and start feeling connected. It's stepping into the role of someone who understands others and themselves better. And that choice can change everything. Number 6. Reflect on your daily interactions and identify improvement areas. Every day, millions of conversations pass by unnoticed, forgotten as soon as they end. People talk, nod, smile, maybe laugh, but rarely do they pause to think about what really happened during those exchanges. It's common to move from one interaction to the next without reflection, assuming everything went fine or dismissing awkward moments as just how things are. But here's the hard truth. Without taking the time to reflect on your daily interactions, growth in your social skills slows to a crawl. Reflection isn't just for mistakes. It's a powerful tool to understand what works, what doesn't, and how to become better at connecting with others. Reflection means slowing down your mind after each social encounter. It means asking yourself simple but important questions. How did I feel during that conversation? Did I listen carefully or was I distracted? Did I express myself clearly? Did I notice the other person's reactions? Did I miss opportunities to ask questions or show interest? The answers to these questions reveal a lot about your current social strengths and weaknesses. They uncover patterns you might not be aware of, like interrupting too often or avoiding eye contact. These are the building blocks of self-awareness that lead to improvement. Many people underestimate the power of reflection because it requires honesty and vulnerability. It's easier to blame others when conversations don't go well or to pretend you're naturally not good at people. But taking responsibility for your part opens the door to change. It allows you to stop feeling stuck and start taking control. When you commit to examining your interactions daily, you become your own coach. You learn to spot areas where you can adjust tone, body language, or words next time. Reflection is not about self-criticism or beating yourself up. It's about objective observation and learning. Think of it as reviewing a game tape, not to shame yourself, but to find plays that worked and those that need practice. This mindset turns social encounters into ongoing lessons rather than stressful tests. Over time, this habit trains your brain to be more mindful and intentional in future conversations. A common obstacle is that reflection takes time and mental energy, and after a long day, many just want to shut off. But even spending 5 to 10 focused minutes reviewing your interactions can make a massive difference. It's about quality, not quantity. The key is to make it a non-negotiable part of your routine, whether before bed or during a quiet moment in the day. When reflection becomes a habit, it shapes your future conversations without you having to force it. It's also important to keep your reflections specific and actionable. Instead of vague thoughts like, "I didn't do well today," ask yourself what exactly you want to improve. For example, did I interrupt less than usual? Did I ask more open-ended questions? Did I maintain better eye contact? Did I stay calm when the conversation got tense? By breaking your reflections down into clear observations, you create a roadmap for growth. Another benefit of reflecting on your daily interactions is emotional regulation. Conversations don't always go smoothly. Sometimes you feel rejected, misunderstood, or frustrated. Without reflection, these feelings build up and affect your confidence. When you process your emotions after the fact, you gain perspective. You learn to separate your self-worth from one awkward moment. You recognize that social growth is a process with ups and downs. This emotional resilience is crucial for building lasting social confidence. Reflection also helps you notice nonverbal signals you might have missed in the moment. After a conversation, recalling how someone shifted their body or what their facial expressions were can reveal a lot about how they felt. This awareness sharpens your social radar and helps you adjust your approach next time. It deepens your understanding of the unspoken side of communication, which often carries more weight than words. Sometimes reflecting on your interactions uncovers uncomfortable truths. Maybe you realize you weren't fully present, or that fear held you back from saying what you wanted. That discomfort is a sign you're growing. It shows areas where change is needed. Growth requires facing these moments head-on instead of avoiding them. Reflection gives you a safe space to do that. Keeping a journal or notes of your reflections adds another layer of benefit. Writing down your thoughts forces clarity and helps track progress. Over days and weeks, you see how your social skills evolve. You recognize recurring challenges and celebrate small victories. This written record keeps motivation high because it proves you're moving forward. Some might think reflection is only useful for negative experiences, but that's not true. It's just as valuable to reflect on successful interactions. When you identify what made a conversation flow or what made someone respond positively, you can replicate those behaviors. Reflection trains you to notice your strengths and build on them, not just fix weaknesses. Another point to consider is how reflection encourages patience with yourself. Social skills don't improve overnight. By regularly reviewing your interactions, you develop a long-term view. You understand that each day is a step in the journey, not a final test. This patience prevents discouragement and keeps you engaged in the process. Reflection also improves your empathy. When you think back on how others reacted or what they might have felt, you put yourself in their shoes. This perspective enhances your ability to respond with kindness and understanding in future conversations. Empathy deepens connection, and connection boosts confidence. The cycle feeds itself. It's important to resist the urge to compare yourself harshly with others during reflection. Everyone develops social skills at their own pace. Focus on your own path and improvements. Celebrate your commitment to growth. This mindset builds positive self-esteem, which shines through in every interaction. Finally, reflection prepares you for unexpected social situations. When you review past conversations, you build a mental library of responses and strategies. This preparation makes it easier to handle surprises or challenges without panic. You respond thoughtfully instead of reacting impulsively. Reflection on daily interactions isn't just about becoming a better talker. It's about becoming a more thoughtful, aware, and authentic person. It deepens your relationships, enhances your confidence, and transforms how you experience the world. Each day, you take the time to reflect. You invest in a stronger, more connected future. Number 7. Practice asking open questions during social interactions every day. It's a tough reality that many people don't ask the right questions when they talk to others. Conversations often become one-sided or shallow because the questions are too simple, too closed, or don't invite real sharing. People might ask yes or no questions that kill the flow, or they avoid asking questions altogether because they're worried about sounding intrusive or awkward. But here's the truth. Asking open questions is one of the simplest and most powerful ways to deepen your connections and become genuinely interesting to others. When practiced daily, it can reshape how people see you and how you feel about yourself in social settings. An open question is one that can't be answered with a simple yes or no. It invites thought, emotion, and detail. Instead of, "Did you have a good weekend?" you ask, "What was the best part of your weekend?" Instead of, "Are you busy?" you say, "What's keeping you busy these days?" This small shift changes everything. Suddenly, you're not just scratching the surface, you're encouraging the other person to open up, share stories, and reveal pieces of themselves. This makes the interaction more meaningful and memorable for both of you. Most people aren't naturally trained to ask open questions because it feels vulnerable. There's a fear that if you dig deeper, the conversation might hit a dead end, or you might not know what to say next. But avoiding open questions keeps conversations dull and keeps people distant. The difference comes from practice. The more you ask open questions, the more comfortable you become with the natural flow of dialogue that follows. It turns conversations into shared journeys instead of quick exchanges. Starting to practice asking open questions daily can feel uncomfortable at first. It might feel like you're prying, or you might worry about the other person's reaction. Those feelings are normal but temporary. With time, you'll notice that most people appreciate when someone genuinely wants to hear more about them. It's a sign of respect and interest, and it breaks down walls faster than any statement you can make. This practice requires more than just asking the right question. It demands real curiosity. When you ask a question, you must listen deeply to the answer. You must be present and engaged, not planning your next sentence while the other person talks. This active listening fuels follow-up questions and shows the other person you value their thoughts. Genuine curiosity builds trust and makes conversations richer. Daily practice means intentionally setting aside moments to focus on your questioning style. It could be with family, friends, colleagues, or even casual acquaintances. Every interaction is an opportunity to refine your skill. For example, at work, instead of asking, "Did you finish the report?" you might say, "What challenges did you face while working on the report?" In social settings, instead of, "Did you like the movie?" try, "What part of the movie stayed with you the most?" These subtle changes invite deeper reflection and sharing. When you regularly ask open questions, you also start learning about different perspectives. People reveal their experiences, beliefs, and emotions. This broadens your understanding of others and the world around you. It helps you break down assumptions and biases because you're hearing people's stories firsthand. This greater awareness enriches your social intelligence and empathy. Open questions also shift the focus off yourself, reducing anxiety in social situations. Many people fear being judged or don't know what to say because they're too focused on how they appear. When you concentrate on the other person asking open questions, you take the pressure off yourself. The interaction becomes about genuine curiosity, not about impressing or performing. This freedom lets you relax and enjoy the conversation more. This daily habit improves your confidence as well. Each time you successfully ask an open question and keep the conversation flowing, you build evidence that you can handle social situations. Over time, you lose the fear of silence or awkward pauses because you know how to re-engage the other person. This confidence becomes visible and magnetic to others, drawing them toward you naturally. Another important point is that open questions help you uncover common ground and shared interests. When people open up about their experiences or passions, you find connections that might otherwise go unnoticed. These connections are the foundation of meaningful relationships, both personal and professional. The more you practice, the better you become at spotting these opportunities to connect deeply. It's essential to avoid turning your questions into an interrogation. The goal isn't to extract information, but to create a natural back and forth. Your tone, body language, and timing matter just as much as the words you choose. Asking questions with warmth and genuine interest invites openness. If questions feel rushed or mechanical, they can shut people down instead of opening them up. This practice also sharpens your ability to read social cues. When someone answers an open question, their tone, expression, and energy give you clues about how they really feel. Maybe their words say one thing, but their body language says another. Noticing these signals helps you respond with empathy or shift the topic if needed. This sensitivity improves your social awareness and builds trust. Over time, you will develop a mental toolkit of open questions that fit different situations. This preparation makes socializing less intimidating because you have reliable ways to engage others. You won't have to rely on small talk or filler phrases that don't lead anywhere. Instead, your conversations become meaningful explorations of thoughts and feelings. Open questions also encourage others to see you as a thoughtful and caring person. When people feel heard and understood, they naturally want to spend more time with you. This reputation opens doors for friendships, partnerships, and opportunities that you might not have had before. Social life becomes richer and more fulfilling when you master the art of open questions. One of the biggest rewards is how this habit impacts your own personal growth. As you listen to others' experiences and perspectives, you gain insights into your own values and beliefs. You start reflecting on your own life through the lens of others' stories. This reflection leads to deeper self-awareness and can inspire changes that improve your relationships and your happiness. It's crucial to remember that mastery doesn't happen overnight. Asking open questions requires patience and persistence. Some days will feel easier and some days harder. The key is consistency. Every day you commit to practicing, you build a stronger foundation for better social connections. Finally, the power of open questions lies in their ability to transform conversations from routine exchanges into meaningful moments. They turn strangers into friends and acquaintances into allies. This daily practice is a simple but profound step toward a more connected, confident, and fulfilling life. It's a skill that pays dividends in every part of your world, from your home to your workplace. When you make asking open questions a daily habit, you invest in your future relationships, your growth, and your ability to influence the world around you in positive ways. This one change in how you communicate can open doors, build bridges, and change your life. Number 8, challenge yourself to meet one new person every week. It's a tough reality that many people feel stuck in the same circle, surrounded by familiar faces, and yet they're craving something different, new connections, fresh ideas, or simply a change of pace. Life tends to get comfortable, predictable, and frankly a little lonely at times. But growth doesn't happen in comfort zones. Meeting one new person every week isn't just a task. It's a way to push yourself beyond the usual boundaries. It's about breaking the routine and giving yourself a chance to discover new perspectives, new opportunities, and new parts of yourself. The idea sounds simple, but the impact can be massive. Most people hesitate to meet new people because it brings up fear of rejection, fear of awkwardness, or fear of not knowing what to say. Those feelings are completely normal and something everyone deals with. What holds people back isn't lack of opportunity, it's hesitation. And that hesitation builds a wall, keeping you isolated in your comfort zone. But what if every week you made a commitment to face that fear head-on? What if you told yourself that discomfort is a sign of progress, not a signal to stop? That one small step each week can build momentum toward a more vibrant social life and more meaningful relationships. Meeting new people isn't about collecting names or increasing numbers on social media. It's about genuine human connection, sharing stories, exchanging ideas, and seeing the world through someone else's eyes. Each new person you meet carries a unique experience, a different background, and a fresh way of thinking. Opening yourself up to that diversity challenges your own worldview and enriches your life. Over time, these encounters build a network of support, inspiration, and possibility. Start by setting a clear intention. This is not a vague hope, but a deliberate challenge to yourself. Put it on your calendar. Decide that once every week you will reach out to someone new. It could be someone at work you've never spoken to, a neighbor you've only waved at, or a person at a community event. The key is to take action and make a genuine effort. It might feel uncomfortable initially, but discomfort fades with practice and confidence grows. Approach these encounters with an open mind and authentic curiosity. When you meet someone new, focus on learning about them, not impressing them. People can sense when you're genuinely interested versus when you're just going through the motions. Ask questions about their passions, challenges, or dreams. Listen carefully to their answers and respond with empathy. This makes the interaction more than small talk. It becomes a meaningful exchange that benefits both of you. It's important to prepare yourself mentally for these meetings. Rejection or awkward moments might happen. Some conversations might feel forced or short-lived. That's part of the process. Instead of viewing these moments as failures, see them as valuable lessons. Each interaction teaches you something about communication, patience, or your own resilience. Over time, the positive experiences will outweigh the uncomfortable ones, and you'll develop a natural ease in meeting new people. You don't have to wait for special events to meet new people. Everyday situations offer countless opportunities: a coffee shop, a gym, a bus stop, or even online forums. The world is full of people willing to connect if you take the first step. The challenge is to recognize these moments and seize them instead of retreating into your comfort zone. Consistency matters more than intensity. One new person each week might seem small, but it adds up quickly. In a month, that's 4 new connections. In a year, more than 50. This consistent practice builds social skills, expands your network, and creates a habit of openness. With time, this challenge can become a natural part of your lifestyle, transforming your social landscape completely. This practice also pushes you to become more adaptable and present. Every person you meet has a different energy, style, and story. You learn to adjust your communication, read subtle cues, and engage in varied topics. This flexibility enhances your social intelligence and helps you navigate diverse environments with confidence. Meeting new people sharpens your listening skills and teaches you how to build rapport quickly. Beyond social skills, this habit can improve your emotional well-being. Human connection is a fundamental need. Feeling connected reduces stress, improves mood, and boosts overall happiness. When you meet new people regularly, you break loneliness and foster a sense of belonging. These interactions bring new energy into your life, often sparking joy and excitement that routine can't provide. Facing the fear of meeting new people strengthens your mindset. It teaches you that growth happens through action, not avoidance. Each successful connection becomes proof that you can handle uncertainty and discomfort. This confidence spills over into other areas of your life, empowering you to tackle challenges with a positive outlook. The courage you build from this weekly habit becomes a foundation for broader personal development. The benefits also ripple out beyond you. When you connect with new people, you contribute to their lives as well. Your willingness to engage might brighten someone's day, offer support, or open doors they never expected. Relationships are reciprocal. Your courage to reach out creates a space for mutual growth and kindness. To maintain this challenge, keep track of your progress. Reflect on the people you meet and what you learn from each interaction. Notice how your feelings about social situations change. Celebrate the small victories like a good conversation, a new contact, or overcoming nervousness. This reflection reinforces your motivation and keeps you focused. Sometimes, this challenge will lead you to unexpected places and people. You might find mentors, collaborators, or lifelong friends. Opportunities for career advancement or personal enrichment often come from these new connections. Being proactive about meeting people opens doors that staying in your usual circle simply cannot. Meeting new people weekly requires courage, but it also requires kindness to yourself. It's okay if some weeks are harder or less successful than others. The goal is progress, not perfection. Keep showing up, keep trying, and give yourself credit for every effort you make. This persistence builds a habit that changes your life gradually and profoundly. This challenge also encourages you to look beyond superficial qualities. When you meet someone new, try to understand their values, dreams, and struggles rather than just noticing appearances or status. This deeper connection enriches your empathy and broadens your compassion. It also makes relationships more rewarding and less transactional. The world is a vast place filled with people waiting to be known. When you commit to meeting one new person every week, you step into a world of endless possibilities. This simple practice challenges your fears, expands your horizons, and builds the life you want through real human connection. The change starts with one step, one conversation, and one person at a time. Number 9. Record and review your conversations to improve response skills. It's a hard truth that many people struggle to communicate effectively because they don't take the time to understand how they actually come across in conversation. Most of us think we're good listeners or natural talkers, but without reflection, it's nearly impossible to improve. Communication isn't just about what you say, it's about how you say it, the timing of your responses, and the way you connect with the other person. Many miss the chance to get better because they skip the step of reviewing their interactions. Recording your conversations, with permission of course, and reviewing them is a powerful but often overlooked tool. It's a chance to hear yourself from another perspective and catch what you don't realize while you're talking. The reality is that nobody can improve their response skills without some form of feedback, and reviewing your own conversations gives you direct, honest insight. People often don't realize how quickly conversations can move. You might be caught up in your thoughts or emotions and miss cues that would change the way you respond. Listening to a recording lets you slow down and analyze everything: the tone of your voice, your choice of words, the pauses, the questions you ask or miss asking. You start to notice patterns. Maybe you interrupt too often or talk too much about yourself. Maybe you come off as disinterested, or perhaps you don't follow up on important points. These small details influence how others feel about the conversation and about you. Without realizing it, these habits could be closing doors or creating distance. Recording conversations creates a safe space for growth because it removes guesswork. When you rely solely on memory, you tend to overlook your weaknesses or overestimate your strengths. Memory is selective and subjective. Reviewing actual recordings gives you concrete evidence of what's working and what's not. It's a mirror reflecting your communication style honestly. And that honesty is uncomfortable at times, but that's where real change begins. The first time you listen to a conversation you recorded, it can feel awkward or even embarrassing. You might cringe at your tone or realize how often you say or like. That's normal. Nobody sounds perfect when they hear themselves for the first time. But the purpose is not to judge or criticize yourself harshly. It's to learn. Each playback is an opportunity to identify one or two things you want to improve. Maybe it's speaking more clearly, asking more open-ended questions, or simply letting the other person finish their thoughts before jumping in. This habit also builds your emotional awareness. You begin to hear the emotions behind your words: frustration, excitement, impatience, or kindness that you might not be fully aware of in the moment. Emotional tone is just as important as the words themselves because it affects how your message lands. Understanding your emotional signals allows you to regulate your responses better and create more positive interactions. When you review conversations, pay close attention to the other person's reactions as well. Notice their tone, their pauses, and the energy they bring. Do they sound engaged or distracted? Are they asking questions back or giving short answers? Observing these responses helps you understand how your communication style influences others. You can start adapting your approach to keep people interested and involved. It's not about manipulation, but about respect for the flow of conversation and for the feelings of the person you're speaking with. One important strategy is to keep a journal or notes alongside your recordings. Write down what you notice about your strengths and weaknesses. Set small goals based on your observations. For example, you might decide to work on asking at least 3 open questions in every conversation or to reduce interruptions. Having these clear goals makes improvement manageable instead of overwhelming. This practice of recording and reviewing also helps in stressful or important conversations. Sometimes you might replay difficult discussions to analyze what went wrong or what you could have handled better. This reflection prepares you for future situations and gives you confidence to approach conversations more skillfully. It's like training for a sport. Practice and review lead to mastery. Technology makes this process easier than ever. Using your phone or computer to record conversations is simple. Just remember to ask permission before recording someone, out of respect and legal considerations. Transparency builds trust and prevents misunderstandings. Once you have the recording, set aside time each day or week to listen with full attention. This dedicated time signals commitment to growth and signals to yourself that improving communication is a priority. Reviewing your conversations also trains you to be a better listener. When you replay a conversation, you become more aware of how much you truly listen versus how much you're just waiting to speak. You notice the moments where you tuned out or jumped to conclusions. This awareness sharpens your attention and presence in future interactions, which are crucial for building trust and connection. Over time, this process develops a deeper self-awareness. You start recognizing your default communication style, whether you tend to be assertive, passive, or overly cautious. With that awareness, you gain control. You can consciously adjust your tone, pace, and content to suit the situation and the person you're talking to. This flexibility enhances your ability to connect meaningfully with a wide range of people. As your response skills improve, you'll find that conversations become more natural and rewarding. People will respond more positively, and your social confidence will grow. The anxiety that comes from uncertainty or fear of saying the wrong thing diminishes because you have a clearer understanding of how you come across. This confidence is powerful. It opens doors in personal and professional relationships, allowing you to influence, inspire, and support others more effectively. This process isn't about perfection, it's about progress. Every conversation recorded and reviewed is a step forward. You don't need to master everything at once. Focus on small improvements and build on them gradually. Over time, these improvements compound, leading to significant transformation in how you communicate and connect. Finally, this practice reminds you that communication is a skill, not just a talent. It's something you can learn, practice, and refine. By taking control of your learning process through recording and reviewing, you take ownership of your growth. That ownership is empowering. It shifts you from being a passive participant in your social life to an active creator of your relationships and opportunities. Recording and reviewing conversations is a tool anyone can use, regardless of background or personality. It's accessible, practical, and deeply effective. By embracing this habit, you invest in yourself and your future. You build the social skills that lead to better jobs, stronger friendships, and a more fulfilling life. The path to improvement begins with listening to yourself, and that first step can change everything. Number 10. Use 1 hour daily to build genuine social connections. It's a harsh reality that many people feel isolated even when surrounded by others. The truth is, having a large number of acquaintances doesn't guarantee meaningful relationships. What truly matters is the depth of the connections you build. Social connections aren't just about exchanging words or small talk. They require intention, time, and genuine interest. Yet, most people never invest the necessary time to cultivate these bonds. There's a tendency to think relationships happen naturally, without effort. That's a costly misconception. Real connection demands consistent, focused effort, and dedicating just 1 hour a day to this process can transform your life in ways you might not expect. Spending 1 hour a day purposefully working on building genuine relationships means more than just showing up. It means being present with others in a way that allows trust and understanding to grow. Often we rush through interactions, distracted by phones, work, or personal worries. When you commit a full hour, free from distractions, your focus signals respect and care. People can sense when your attention is real or half-hearted. That genuine presence is the foundation of meaningful connection. This hour can be spent in different ways, but each should aim at deepening understanding and creating a two-way bond. It can mean having a face-to-face conversation where you ask thoughtful questions and listen attentively. It can be calling a friend or family member and giving them your full attention. It can be attending community events or group activities where you engage actively rather than just passively. The key is to seek quality over quantity. One sincere, heartfelt conversation will impact your relationships far more than several shallow exchanges. It's also important to remember that building genuine connections is not about impressing others or gaining favors. It's about mutual respect and empathy. When you take the time to understand someone else's story, struggles, and dreams, it shifts your perspective. This kind of connection nurtures kindness and patience. It moves beyond surface-level interaction to something meaningful. You begin to create a network of people who support you emotionally and socially, and in return, you provide the same support to them. 1 hour daily is a small but powerful investment. Imagine what happens when you do this every day for weeks, months, and years. The small moments of shared stories, laughs, and even silences accumulate. You develop a circle of trust. People remember you not just for your words, but for your presence, your sincerity, and your willingness to be there. This network becomes a safety net in hard times and a launch pad for opportunities in good times. The hour you dedicate to building connections should be distraction-free. Turn off notifications and put away anything that pulls your attention away. Your brain needs to focus entirely on the other person. When you give this kind of attention, you're training yourself to be more empathetic and patient. This daily practice strengthens your social muscles. Over time, being present and engaged becomes second nature, and relationships deepen naturally. It's normal to feel uncomfortable or awkward at first, especially if you're not used to investing this much time into socializing intentionally. Many people have experienced loneliness or social anxiety because they haven't developed these habits. That discomfort is a signal you're growing. The more you push through it, the easier genuine connection becomes. It's a skill that develops with practice, like learning a musical instrument or a sport. The more you do it, the more natural and rewarding it feels. During this hour, it's valuable to focus on being curious rather than judgmental. Curiosity opens doors while judgment closes them. When you approach others with an open mind, you learn about their true selves and build rapport. People appreciate when someone is genuinely interested in their thoughts and feelings. This curiosity can be shown by asking simple but meaningful questions and then listening deeply. Avoid rushing to respond or steer the conversation back to yourself. Instead, stay engaged with what the other person is sharing. Building genuine connections also means being authentic. You don't have to pretend to be someone you're not to connect with others. Authenticity invites trust because it shows vulnerability. Sharing your own experiences and feelings, when appropriate, makes the interaction real. People relate to honesty more than perfection. It's okay to share struggles and imperfections. It's part of what makes relationships human. This hour is also a time to practice generosity, not with money, but with your time, attention, and kindness. Small gestures, like remembering important details about someone's life, offering encouragement, or simply being there when someone needs to talk, can have a huge impact. These acts build goodwill and deepen trust. Genuine social connections thrive on consistent acts of kindness. If face-to-face interaction isn't always possible, this hour can include phone or video calls, or even thoughtful messages. The medium doesn't matter as much as the intention and quality of the interaction. In today's world, technology can either create distance or bridge gaps, depending on how we use it. Using this time intentionally to connect, not just scroll or skim, transforms digital communication into a meaningful experience. Sometimes, building genuine social connections involves stepping out of your comfort zone. This might mean reaching out to someone you haven't talked to in a while, joining a new group, or volunteering. Growth often happens outside familiar circles. These new connections bring fresh perspectives and opportunities for learning. They also expand your support network in unexpected ways. As you practice this daily hour, notice how your feelings change. You may find yourself feeling less isolated and more energized by social interactions. The satisfaction that comes from truly connecting with others is profound and lasting. These relationships become sources of joy, support, and inspiration. You start to see how your life is enriched by the people you intentionally include. This commitment to 1 hour a day also teaches patience and persistence. Building genuine connections doesn't happen overnight. It's a slow process of trust building and mutual understanding. Sometimes you may face rejection or indifference, but persistence keeps you moving forward. The payoff comes in deeper, more meaningful relationships that withstand challenges. Using this hour daily also aligns with the truth that humans are social beings. We thrive on connection. When we neglect this need, it affects our mental health, happiness, and even physical well-being. Purposeful social interaction fuels our sense of belonging and purpose. It provides a support system that helps us handle stress and setbacks. This hour is an investment in your overall well-being. The hour you dedicate to genuine connection is not just about improving your social life. It's about creating a life filled with meaningful relationships that provide love, encouragement, and shared experiences. These connections can inspire you to grow, hold you accountable, and celebrate your successes. They enrich your journey and make every day more fulfilling. When this daily practice becomes a habit, your social skills sharpen naturally. You learn to read people better, respond more thoughtfully, and communicate with greater clarity. You become someone who others want to be around because you bring warmth, attention, and authenticity. These qualities open doors personally and professionally.